Hey everybody, Jim here from Clockwerk Industries. Welcome to what will be a rather long series in collaboration with Cooler Master. We're going to be doing a full build in the Mastercase Pro 6 chassis. This first video will be just an unboxing and review of the case, and it will eventually lead into modding tutorial videos, other product reviews from Cooler Master. MSI will be joining us down the road, eventually Primo Chill as well. In the end of the series, this will be a full custom build. I believe it's going to go to PAX in September. It's going to be a pretty informative series. I'm going to try to detail things from basic modding with only hand tools to how I would do some things on the CNC with water manifolds and reservoirs. That'll be further along, but there'll be other tutorials like sleeving your power supply, some other product reviews from Cooler Master for their power supply, case fans, LEDs, things like that. First thing we're going to do in the series is unbox this beast right here and take a look at everything that comes with it, start breaking down the case, and show you guys all the features and details on the case. So first thing I'm going to do is get this thing up out of the box. Okay, so now we got everything out of the box. This case is so clean. I actually think I like this one better than the 5T, and the 5T was really nice to the point where it was so well made you don't even want to mod it. We're definitely going to mod it. All these panels are attached with magnets and latches. Essentially they all just pop right off. I really like how they have this going all around the whole case. It covers up some of the rear panel, which is usually the least attractive looking part of the case with all the input output and all the cables coming through, but I really like this trim that they put on it. That's something I always end up doing on my mods anyway, is trimming out all the panels. They already went ahead and did that. I think when we mod this, I'll be doing like add-on pieces, acrylic pieces that I can glue on right onto here. Bring the trim pieces some more detail and some more life. So I'm gonna pop off these panels and get you a look at the guts of the case. Okay, so going over the case, basically, it's a lot like the same interior of the Mastercase 5T. You have the front recessed area here that I think is supportive to a 360mm radiator, 240mm or 280mm in the top. You could also do 280mm in the front as well. Looks like we got an LED strip built in down here. The back wire management is all the same. The channel in the back here. The interior layout is nearly identical to the Mastercase 5T. It's the exterior additions and features that they put on there and the cool look to it that makes it and sets it apart. One cool thing you can see here, I noticed this right away, is a built-in like power supply shroud basically into the door panel. That way you don't have to have anything in here, because when I made my shroud before, you have to have something that's super low profile to close up this power supply shroud area. It's not really that difficult to do. It requires a little bit of precision, I'd say. Flip this around for you guys to see over there. So you got your standard drive cages, 5 1/4 bays, hard drives. SSD racks inside of there. There's 2 SSD mounts on the shelf in here. Just like the other one, there's also 2 drive cages in the bottom, power supply mounting in the rear, fan mounting on the back. Supports up to extended ATX motherboards, all the way down to ITX, but you're probably not gonna put an ITX build in a case this big. Basically, you can support a full custom water-cooled loop without having to do really any modding to the case. You might have to drill a hole or two to mount a pump, but I mean, you could even do stuff like that with double-sided tape. You could throw a completely custom water-cooled computer in here without too much trouble. Down in one of the drive cages comes the accessory box. Got all your tie wraps, a couple extra cables, mounting hardware for the motherboard, standoffs, all that good stuff. A couple tie wrap or cable bundlers to stick on the back there. Okay, so quick overview, some features that I noticed while going over the Mastercase Pro 6. On the exterior, we have, of course, the front window with built-in shroud. So when this is on, the power supply area with your cable management is hidden with a smoked gray plastic trim piece across the inside of the window. And what's cool is that could be modded to anything you want and it will show up on the front. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea to having a built-in shroud like that. Top panel, front panel, and rear panel are all removable quickly with magnets, but also on the front and rear, they pop out to allow for extra airflow. When you have a radiator in the top and the front or fans or whatever you're doing, they pop open so you can have airflow all the way around. You get a nice half-inch of room there for increased airflow. Granted, the front has vents, they'll have vents, it'll have air either way, but increased airflow if you expand it. Down in the front foot here, there's an LED strip to glow light out through the top, so if you had this expanded like this, it would glow all the way around the edges, I'm assuming. I'll know more about that when I actually fire this thing up and have a power supply in it. Front panel I/O. Up in the top here, tucked away and hidden, we got 2 USB 3.0s. We have audio, headphone, power, and reset. I like this little panel. I mean, I'm not even a huge fan of front input output panels. I normally tear them out of my mods. They're just get in the way. I have a bunch of extra cables that look crappy and you can never really do anything with them. They're so thick you can't put sleeve over them without them looking haggard. The only way to do it nice is to custom make all the panels that would go on there so you could have them sleeved exactly how you want them, and that's a lot of extra work and most people don't go through all that work to get it done. I have in the past, but it's rarely worth it for the couple connectors you're gonna get out of it. I really like how tucked away and clean this is here. Inside the case, we got support for 3 graphics cards and SLI with, and I don't even know if that's useful anymore. I think dual SLI, or 2 card SLI is really all we need. But you could have 3 cards, 3 2-slot cards. You can have any motherboard in there from mini ITX all the way up to extended ATX. One thing I do like that they kept in this one that's in the Mastercase 5T is the wire management track hidden back here. It's so nice to tuck all your wires in there and it keeps it nice and neat back there, especially for these big bulkier wires that I'm talking about from the front top panel. They're always a pain, and they're always the ones that they're never the right length that you want them to be. They're getting pretty close with it, but it depends on the layout of your PC, especially if you're modding and you got things twisted and turned and spun in different directions. Cables are never going to be the right length that you want them to be. You're always going to be tying up extra cable. One of the reasons I usually try to make my own custom cables, but when you're getting into high-speed USB cables, it's a lot more work to put together a custom one of those than, a power supply power cable. So I love the wire management track on the back of these cases. It's an excellent way to route your wires. So we got 2 5.25 bays here. I don't even know if anybody uses that anymore, but what it could be useful for is a nice size bay reservoir. Now that could come in handy if that's the way you want to go with water cooling. Realistically, there is enough space you could fit a reservoir down here somewhere with your pump. You could fit it across the front. That would be a perfect spot. Or you could pull that out with 2 thumb screws and put in your own cylinder reservoir, whatever you want to do there. You could actually mount a cylinder reservoir on top of this drive cage. Speaking of the drive cages, we've got 5 HDD or SSD drive cages and 2 dedicated SSD drive cages. The other option is you take everything out and you have a big blank canvas. That's what I did in Mastercase 5T. I pulled out all the cages, did my own custom layout. This time around, I might actually just mod these cages and take advantage of them, use them as shelves. You can cut the front off of here, install a pump up there at the top. You can, cut a window out of the side of this cage and have it a nice open frame to mount something in there. So I'm going to play around with some ideas to not be as wasteful with the interiors of cases. Try to make use of the drive cages in some way, mod them to fit my needs. Real quick, I want to talk about the water cooling. Right out of the gate, you can support a full water cooled build. In the front, you can get a 2 140 millimeter, which is a dual 120 millimeter fan, or actually no, I'm sorry, a triple 120 millimeter radiator, or a double 140 millimeter radiator. So a 360 millimeter radiator or a 280 millimeter radiator. In the top, you can fit a 240 millimeter or a 280 millimeter radiator. That's gonna be plenty of water going. The front, you're gonna probably have to remove these drive cages unless you wanna go with a single fan radiator and then have another one in the top. So to get a dual or a triple in the front, you're probably gonna have to move these cages. Maybe if you brought it up a little bit, you might be able to squeeze the 240 in there, you might. It depends on the radiator that you are using. Very little modding needed to be done to water cool your PC, and that I think has been the goal of most manufacturers, being able to let the average user, the entry-level PC builder, be able to go right into water cooling and not have to worry about cutting new panels to mount your radiators, mount your reservoirs, and all that stuff. All of that can be done now, nearly plug and play. You might have to drill a couple holes, if that, to mount some of these parts, but other than that, everything is ready to go out of the gate now. It's all personal preference. But the cool thing is nowadays everybody can go out and they can get a decent sized water cooling loop and put it right into their case with their hardware right off the bat. I think that's about to be it. Really impressed with the case. I really like everything about it. I had no complaints looking at this thing and going through it. I'm really excited to be working on this case and going through and doing a full water cooled build. I really appreciate the support with Cooler Master. Hopefully you guys will learn something going through this whole process, be inspired to go out and do your own modding, get a couple cheap tools and just get started. My whole thing started from was one YouTube video. I was going to spend tons of money to get the right case to upgrade it to fit all this water cooling, and I saw one video 4.5 years ago or so where a guy came and he tore apart his Cooler Master half 932, and I had that case at home, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go home and I'm gonna cut it up with the Dremel. I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna make it look sweet. It didn't look as sweet as anything I've recently done, but I was proud of it at the time. When I sat down to play some video games after finishing it, I'm like, building this case was so much more fun than the games I'm about to be playing. Within 3 weeks, I had it tore down again. I started my next build, and from there, I just took off. Hopefully you guys see, get the same experience out of watching these videos. You go out, and as soon as you see this, you go outside and you cut open your case and you start getting to work on it. It's a lot of fun. This whole shop, everything here started from that one YouTube video 4.5 years ago, so anything could happen. I think that's about it with this one. Thanks again, Cooler Master. If you guys like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff, comment. This is the first review video I've done, so I'm gonna try to get used to doing this, find more smooth, streamlined method of making this happen. Appreciate the support. Thanks for bearing with me on this one. Yeah, that's it. Jim here from Clockwerk Industries, and I will see you in the next video. Later.